Welcome back to Two Guys in the Outdoors. This episode's going to be about what a new hunters should do to get started hunting. I'll be doing this one by myself because Jason's got other obligations. So this topic, new hunters. Somebody's brand new trying to get into hunting, okay? Or could actually be somebody that maybe hasn't had it for a while. Maybe it's been many years since they've hunted and they're trying to get back into it. So what do you do? I've been asked that question several times. I'm also, I volunteer for the DWR, Department of Wildlife Resources, as a hunter education instructor, and I get that question asked quite a bit during my classes. Then I also mentor here in Virginia. So what do you got to do? Well, first thing, you got to get a hunting license. So how do you go about getting a hunting license? Well, to get a general hunting license, anybody trying to get one needs to go through a hunter's education class. Okay. Now, there's two ways you can do that. You can actually go online and you can do the online version, take the test, and I believe you have to get an 80 or better, and then you pass it and they'll send you your card. Okay. The other one is you go in person. In both of these methods, you can actually go to the Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources website, and I'll put a link to it in the description. But you can go on there and actually go to the online one, or it'll take you to where you can get to the in-person classes. And they have these classes all throughout the state. And if there's anybody from outside the state listening, I'm sure your state has them. Most states will have some sort of methodology for you to get a hunter's education class. But with this one, you just find the location you want to go to and take the class. They're typically anywhere from 6 to 8 hours long. And depending on which one you go to, some of them are without a firing range. Okay, so you just sit in a classroom and discuss it. And most of the this is all done by volunteer instructors, or majority are volunteer instructors. And they'll use a bit of, knowledge that they've got over the years, as well as some information that the Department of Wildlife has given us. So that is a key thing. Now, my personal opinion, it's always good to go in person. Not just because I teach one, but I think it gives you a little bit of insight, and you can talk to the instructor. You can talk to other people that's in the same situation that you're in, okay, and trying to understand, and maybe you can create a relationship, and maybe find a friend, okay. So that's the first thing you need to do. You need to get your hunter's educations taken care of and get you just a regular hunting license. From there, then it can go into another two-way street, or two ways of doing it. You hit another Y in the road. Once you got your hunting license and you're ready to hunt, but you really don't know what to hunt for, where to hunt, what type of gear you need, what type of practice you should be doing, and maybe you're not up on the rules and regulations. Well, this is where you can take one of two courses, okay? You can either do it on your own, okay? Go into YouTube, and I'd be cautioning you with some of that. Do it with an open mind, because there's a lot of people out there, like myself, giving training. Okay, so you gotta do what makes sense for you and what you think is appropriate. Okay, but you can do it on your own. You can do a DIY type of hunting and read up on it and study it get the stuff that you think you need, and then go out and practice the new tools that you get, and then you can go and try to apply it. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Now, the way that I would suggest, if anybody was asking me, is find a mentor. Okay, some people are lucky enough that they have family and friends, okay, that maybe they can get into hunting. If you're a young adult and you got a friend that's been bugging you to hunt, or you know somebody that's been hunting before and you're friends with them, that's ultimately the best way. Okay, friends and family, and you're out, and not only are you learning new skills and learning new knowledge, you are enjoying some time with some friends and family. Okay, some bonding time. Okay. So if you don't have that situation where you don't have friends or family that's into hunting already, what you might want to do is you can go on here again on the Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources website, and they have a mentoring program. Okay, now we're primarily talking about Virginia here, but I will say, if there's anybody out there that's listening from other states, there are mentoring programs throughout the country. Okay, so just go to your Department of Wildlife Resources websites and see if there's anything out there. Do a little Google search on hunting mentors. Okay, but for those of you that's in Virginia, it's quite easy. You go to the Department of Wildlife Resources, and there will be a website that you go to. It'll show you all the different mentors that are out there and what their knowledge is in. Okay, and then through that website, you make your first contact. Okay, and that mentor will receive your email. You'll make contact, whether it's via phone, via a video chat, or a meetup, if you're close enough. And then you'll decide if it's appropriate. When you're doing something like this, you want to make sure you can create a relationship sometimes. So you find somebody that can mentor you, and then it's just fun. Okay. So my suggestion, if you're going to get into it, find some sort of mentor that can help you, that can answer questions through your research and understanding what you're wanting to do. Maybe it's just a matter of bouncing ideas off of them, or to the full extent where they're actually taking you out hunting. Okay. So now, once you figure out which way you go, the path is going to be the same. Whether you're doing it a DIY method or you're doing it through a mentor. Okay. That from there, everything's going to be the same. The next, say, 5 steps that I talk about at a more of a high level will be the same for either or. And it'll also be the same for a person that may be getting back into hunting, that maybe have been away from it for a while. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you want to know understand the rules and regulations for the area. And in Virginia, you'll be looking for something like this: Hunters and Trapping in Virginia. Okay. This is kind of our Bible when it comes to rules and regulations for Virginia. And every state's got them. Okay. In Virginia, anywhere you can buy a hunting license over the counter will have these things. You take a hunter's education class, they'll give you one automatically. They do change every July. A new one comes out. I don't know if you've listened to the last show. I mentioned that there's several proposals that they're talking about, some changes, maybe with some seasons opening up and some different things. So every July you want to get a new one. Okay. You can also get it off your phone. The Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources has an app. Okay. Well, and that app will store your license, your tags, everything about you. Okay, you can buy it online like that. It also has the rules and regulations for hunting, fishing, boating, everything outdoors. Okay, so there's another method that you can get those rules and regulations. And the key things you want to know, depending on what you're going to hunt, understand the seasons. When's the season start? Okay, like spring gobbler starts this weekend. So, everybody's all gearing up for spring gobbler, and then want to know when the hunting times are, which is, half an hour before daylight to noon to 12 o'clock, and that goes on for a few weeks, and it opens up. Okay, but never take anybody for granted. Don't take them for just their word. Check the rules out for yourself and understand. Okay. And I say that because if you ever get to talk to one of our conservation police officers, and you tell them, hey, Bob told me that that's not going to cut it. You're still responsible to understand what this is. Now, there's quite a few pages. Doesn't mean you have to memorize the entire pamphlet here, but at least understand if you're going to go out squirrel hunting, what is the season? What is the bag limit? How many squirrels can you have in a certain day? What squirrels can be hunted for at that particular time? Do you need a tag? Do you have to check it in? Okay, and how do you check it in? Okay, so understand what is appropriate for you in regards to the rules and regulations for your county or the county that you're hunting in, and the game that you're hunting, whether it's small game, large game, waterfowl, upland game birds, no matter what it is. Okay, so that's the first one. The next one would be trying to understand the gear you need. If you just say the gear, that can be a depends question. Okay, it depends on what you're wanting to hunt. Now, on a basic level, you're going to need some sort of either firearm or archery equipment. Okay, now what kind of firearm? I get that question quite a bit. What kind of firearm should I get? If somebody was asking me, hey, I want a firearm and I want to be able to use it for everything, I'd be telling them to get a 12 gauge shotgun. Okay. And that's only because you can hunt big game, you can hunt waterfowl, you can hunt small game. There's nothing you can't hunt with a shotgun. Okay. But not everybody wants to use a shotgun. Okay, so you need to understand, what you're going to hunt. Do you want to go with the archery equipment? Then do you want to go with compound crossbow or recurve or a longbow? Okay, what is the method that you want to do? You want to get up close and personal? Then you might want to get into the archery stuff. Okay, because there you're going to be, especially in our woods, you're talking about 20 yards or less, maybe at the most 30, 35. Okay. If you want to get into muzzleloader, there again, it's not going to be, long distances. Even with a rifle here in Virginia, it's typically you're going to be in the woods. Okay. So definitely less than 100 yards. Okay. That would be my thoughts on that. Okay, so you need to think through it a little bit and understand, and that's where your mentor can help you, or if you're doing research, that can help you to understand. You need to go back to the rules and regulations and what type of firearm are you allowed to use. Okay, you can't use a 22, rifle or pistol to go shoot bear. Okay. So the next thing I would suggest is you want weather appropriate clothing. Okay. Now I'm saying it in that way. You see me, I have camouflage on. You don't have to have camo. Okay, I'll tell you straight out, you don't have to have camo. You look at a lot of the old pictures of hunters, back in the early days. Okay, they weren't wearing the special Realtree Edge, Mossy Creek special hunting camouflage. They had something that maybe broke up their pattern a little bit. Some maybe a plaid shirt. Just something to break it up to where it's just not one solid color. Okay, and that's what they wore, right? I've done many times out in blue jeans and a t-shirt out squirrel hunting. Okay, so don't think you have to go out and buy the latest and greatest, most effective camouflage out there. Okay, if you start going down the rabbit hole of having the latest and greatest in gear, it's just like having the latest and greatest electronics. As soon as you buy it, it's outdated. Okay, I mean, technology, every year manufacturers feel like that they need to come up with a new brand, a new component, a new technique, a new tactic, whatever it is, to get you to spend money, and you can. And I've gotten into that quite a bit. Okay, but if you're just getting started, you don't want to go out and spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay, keep it low. Just get out to where you just get out and do it. Okay, so going out, and let's say you're going out for deer hunting in the fall. Make sure you understand the weather. Is it raining? Is it cold? Is it snowing? Okay. In the winter months, you don't have to worry so much about pests. But in the early days, in October and that, when it's still warm out there, you need to dress appropriately for all them little critters out there that might try to get you. You want to make sure you guard against ticks and stuff like that. Okay, long sleeve shirts, keep them tucked up wear gloves a lot of times, tuck your pants into your boots, okay, to where they can't get it into you. Now there is stuff that you can spray on your clothes, okay, that will kill them instantly. Okay, as you walk through the brush, they're there. They're gonna just jump onto you. Okay. Now, if you use some of this, you can research what all it is and everything, and maybe we'll do a show on some of that sometime. But just get you something that deters ticks, mosquitoes, all them flying pests, or all them pests that you don't want to be in there. Chiggers, another one. Okay, so just make sure you're covered up, and you have some sort of protectant on that stuff. Okay, so that's the early days, right? Then you also want to make sure you keep, in the early seasons, or even like in springtime right now, it's starting to come out. I already found a tick on me not too long ago, the last time I was out. So if you're out for spring gobblers, you're out for springtime, do the same thing. But you want to make sure that you're covered up to where that stuff doesn't get you. Okay, because it can be a pain. There are some good diseases out there from ticks. Okay, Lyme disease and a few others. Okay, so just guard yourself against that sort of thing. Another thing that's starting to poke their heads out right now, and it's warming up, and that's snakes. So here in Virginia, we have the eastern rattlesnake, copperheads. We have some poisonous snakes out there. So watch where you step. Now, this isn't to deter you from hunting. Okay, it's not, because honestly, they're just as afraid as you if you're afraid of them. Okay, so they're typically going to try to get away and only bite if it's a last resort. Okay, but it can happen. Okay, so I actually wear a pair. I don't like snakes. I'll be honest with that, but it's not going to deter me from hunting. So I did get a pair of so I forget what they're called, but I got some to where they won't be able to bite me, at least from the knee down. Okay, so that's on clothing. So you want to dress appropriately for the time period that you're hunting. Okay, if it's cold out, dress in layers. Okay, because as you're walking out there where you're hunting, you may get warm, and you don't want to get all sweaty. Okay, because that could actually cause you to overheat. Okay. You want to wear some rugged shoes. Now, I would suggest boots. Okay. Now, I'd also suggest rubber boots. Okay. A lot of times it's because, if you're hunting, especially if you're hunting deer, you take rubber boots and you're not going to be tracking your scent all over the place. Okay. But you can get the taller ones. You can be able to stick your pants into them, and there's quite a bit of comfort into them. Okay, but that's my suggestion. Some good walking boots. Okay, but if you have some hiking shoes and that, just be prepared that if they're low cut or low boots, you could get them little critters that told you to stay away from. They could wind up on you. Okay. Then the next thing you want to do, at this point you might want to start thinking about what type of hunting are you going to be. Okay, we already talked about whether if it's going to be a firearm or archery equipment. So that's one big decision. There's decisions everywhere. Okay, so are you going to go deer hunting? And there's a whole section of gear that you could use for deer hunting. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean you have to have everything. And my suggestion is get a bare minimum and just add to it year over year over year. You may have a friend that can loan you some stuff to see if you even like it. Okay. But each of, whether you're turkey hunting, deer hunting, waterfowl hunting, small game hunting, there's always some type of gear. A good piece of gear that would go for almost any one of these is a good backpack. Okay. Now, I'm starting to get to the point. I didn't do it earlier in my life, but I'm starting to get to the point, pay once, cry once. Okay. So you get a good backpack and it'll last a long time. Okay. If you're going to deer hunt, you might want one that has plenty of room. Okay, because you're going to be hunting in the wintertime and you want to pack layers. Okay, and you want to pack, the gear as you get it. If you're using calls, your binoculars, different things. Maybe you're going to have to haul a ladder or haul a tree stand around. Okay, maybe you're going to have to haul some sticks around, depending on where you're going to hunt. Okay, if you're going to hunt it on the ground or if you're going to hunt in the tree. Okay. So at this point, you need to start understanding. Now, if you want an idea of, if you just want to get out into the woods and do a little bit of hunting, okay, that's very, I would say, cheap, and it's a good starting type of hunting. I would go with a rabbit and squirrel, okay, because basically a good boot or a good rugged shoe, your regular clothes, and a shotgun. And maybe a backpack just to carry some snacks. Okay? And it doesn't even need to be a camouflage backpack. Okay? And you can get out there and enjoy yourself. Okay? At a very bare minimum. You can go to, for that type of stuff, you can go to almost anywhere and just get, whatever you need. The cheap stuff. Now from there, just like anything else, you'll say, you know what, that squirrel hunting was fun. That really is, but I can see myself being a deer hunter, or I can see myself being a turkey turkey hunter, gobbler hunter, because I heard some gobblers out there, or seen a couple deer while I was out there, and it was kind of really neat to see them. Okay, or I seen deer tracks, or I found an antler shed. Okay, and it always kind of goes like that. Okay, you'll get into it, and then you'll find something else you like, and as long as you like it, do it. But don't think that you have to have the latest and greatest of all the gear. Okay. Then the last thing I'll say on this part right here is, no matter what gear you get, practice with it. If you're getting a shotgun, practice with it. Okay. Go to a range somewhere that allows you to use a shotgun. Practice with it. If you're using archery equipment, no matter what it is, get out and shoot it. Okay. If you're going to use a tree stand with some climbing sticks, or you're going to use a climbing tree stand, get out and practice it. Okay. I don't have the luxury to have trees in my yard that I can actually practice at. Jason says it all the time. His neighbors probably thinks he's crazy because he'll be climbing up and down his tree. I'm getting into saddle hunting. So I go down to a conservation place that I'm a member of, and I go out in the woods and I practice while I'm scouting. So I'll practice doing a bit with the saddle. I did the same thing when I was using my sticks and mounting a tree stand. I would do that out the off season while I'm scouting. So I'm not interfering with hunting. So I'm out there scouting and I'm out there practicing. Okay. I go to the range. I go to the archery range. Now I do have something I can use in my backyard for that. But I'll shoot my bow. Okay. And not necessarily am worried about, shooting at long distances. I may only be shooting at 5 or 10 yards just to get the mechanics of the bow if I'm using my my traditional stuff, or if I'm using my compound. Okay, just where I can get the mechanics working in my head and in my body, and loosening up them muscles and keeping the muscles going. Okay, so practice. No matter what it is, don't wait until hunting season to practice. Okay. Now, so we got your hunting license. You've understood the rules and regulations. You kind of got an idea what you're going to hunt for, and you got the appropriate gear, and you've been practicing. Now it's like, okay, now what do I need to do? Well, you need to go and find some place to hunt. Okay. Now, if you're with a mentor, that may be easy because they may take you hunting somewhere. Okay. If you're not, and even if you are, you may want to hunt by yourself, or you may want to hunt with somebody else. But what you can do here, you got two choices. We are lucky enough in this country to have a lot of public ground. And the same thing here in Virginia, there's a lot of national forest and wild and just public ground. Okay. And they are safe. I used to be one of the ones that wouldn't hunt public ground because I grew up in the old adage that they're not safe. I would not say that anymore. Matter of fact, I hunt in public ground myself. Okay. So you can go out on a public ground, just go out there and look. You can go onto the website, find out where they're at. You can find maps to see where they're at. You just follow the instructions for that particular public ground and all the rules and regulations. Okay. And they're all throughout Virginia. You got them all up and down, the Blue Ridge, no, maybe not the Blue Ridge, but at least over on the western side, I know that's where I'm at. There's quite a few out there. Okay. But just go online. You can find all the public ground and what you're able to hunt there and when. Okay. Private ground's a little different story. Okay. We don't have the opportunity here in this state. Some states, they do. They allow it. It's open for everybody. You can hunt no matter who owns it. Okay, but not in the state of Virginia. State of Virginia, you have to have permission to hunt on private ground, depending on if it's posted or not. If it's not posted, if it's not posted where it's private property, do not trespass, no hunting. If it's not posted like that, then all you need is a verbal yes from the owner. Okay, the property owner. If it is posted, now it could be signs, it could be silver or purple paint on fence posts or trees or what have you. But if it's posted, no trespassing, then you need to have written permission. And the Department of Wildlife actually has a thing you can get them to sign. It's a pledge. You give them one side, they keep, and then you keep the other side. And it's just a pledge saying that you won't hinder their property and you'll be an ethical hunter and all that type of work. It's this right here. Okay. And you get them to sign it, you sign it, and then carry that with you right there with your hunting license. Because if you get stopped, and your tags, if you get stopped by our conservation police officers, they're going to ask if you have permission. If they notice that there's a sign saying no trespassing or no hunting, whatever, then they're going to ask for that document. Okay. If they don't have it posted, they're going to ask, who is it? And then they're going to ask for a phone number. Okay. To where they can verify that you have permission. But how do you get permission from a private landowner? Okay. What you want to do is you actually want to just go and ask. Okay. Knock on the door. Don't wear clothes like this. Dress respectful. Okay. Treat them with respect. And just knock on the door and say, may I hunt on your property? Okay. And maybe offer them, if I get a deer, I'll give you some of the meat, or I can help you, with the fence line, or offer some work. Just talk to them about it and be courteous and kind. If they say no, just say thank you and walk away. Okay. I've been lucky enough. I've not had too many people say no to me. Okay. But they will. They'll say no. And you just have to respect that. It's their land. Okay. So just the one thing I can say about that is just be courteous. Okay. So you got public ground and you got private ground. So you figured out where you're going to hunt. Okay. And you got your gear and you got your rules and you got your hunting license and all that stuff. What's the next thing you got to do? Well, now it's time to figure out where these animals are. Okay. Time for scouting. Okay. And you should actually scout more than you hunt. Okay. And sometimes you have to be a little tricky with them. Think about this a bit. You could probably go into a park, especially here in Virginia, and you'll run across deer. They may be coming into your backyard, and they'll let you get close enough to take pictures. Matter of fact, I used to live up in Massanutten, and I used to have 10 or 12 deer that would walk right through the back of my yard every morning before I went to work. Okay. They never worried about me because they knew they weren't going to be hunted. For some reason, they know when hunting season is. I don't know what it is. Okay. I know they're not thinking, oh, it's hunting season now, I gotta do it. No, they know when danger is going to be there, and they know when it's not dangerous. Okay. So sometimes you got to be a little bit tricky. Okay. So do more scouting in the off seasons and even in season scouting. Anytime you're in the woods, do scouting for that game that you want to hunt. Okay. So if you're out turkey hunting and you're going to be hunting deer in the fall, do a bit of deer scouting while you're out there turkey hunting. Okay. And then the last thing on that, okay, because the big thing is out scouting, looking for signs. We're not going to get into all the different signs because it depends on what you're hunting for. Okay. But the last thing I'll say on tactics is you need to just wait. Okay. Be patient. Whether you want to be a running gunner and you want to just constantly be moving, okay, get out and do something. Okay. You'll never be a good hunter if you just sit at home. Okay. The only way you're going to become a good hunter is if you get out in the woods. And there's going to be a lot of days, even when you're hunting. And I'm not shy to say it. This past year, I was busted. I didn't get a deer. Okay. I learned a lot. I learned a ton about the woods in Virginia. I'm not originally from Virginia here. Okay. So it's new. I'm hunting private ground. But it's like hunting public ground because I've not grown up around it. Okay. So I'm learning. I'm learning where they're going, where they're coming from, what the movements are. Okay. So scouting is a big thing and having patience. Okay. Now, you got all that done and you got lucky. I shouldn't say lucky. You made it happen. You got game. You got that deer. You got that squirrel. You got that turkey. What do you do now? Well, the key thing you need to do right now is soon as you got it, and after you verified that it's down, it's dead, it's and you've made a clean harvest, and if you have to check it in, you've checked it in. It's time to what they call field dress it. Okay. And that's getting all the insides out, okay? Just so you can start cooling that meat down, okay? In the wintertime, it's not so bad, okay? You have a little bit more time, but like now, today, we got up into the mid 80s here in Virginia, and, spring season's coming along, that spring gobbler, you harvest that spring gobbler. You need to get that game cooled down as quick as possible. Okay, and the best thing to do is to get the insides out because that's what's creating the heat on that meat. Okay, if it's really hot and it's big game, let's say it's deer. Okay, you might even want to pack some ice. Okay, just to get it cooled down. Okay. So, field dress it. Then the next thing, it's time to skin it up, butcher it, and enjoy it. Okay. Start making your smoked meat or however you want to cook it. Now, if you're one of those people that you don't really want the meat, you just enjoy hunting, okay, that's okay. The state of Virginia, you have to use the meat. You don't have to use it, but it has to be used. Okay, so you can donate it. Donate it to the private landowner that allowed you to hunt. There's plenty of groups out there that will take it to help feed the homeless. Okay, so there's a lot of charity there. Okay, find a friend that likes it. Okay, family. So if you're not doing it for that reason, at least don't make it go to waste. And it actually is illegal in Virginia to harvest an animal and leave it lay or just to throw it away. It is illegal to do that. Okay, so just to sum it up, you want to make sure you get your hunting license. To get that, you got to go through hunter's education. You want to decide, do you want a mentor or do you want to do it DIY? If it's a mentor, do you need somebody else because you don't know anybody that knows how to hunt? Or do you have family and friends? Okay, then understand all the rules, regulations, and stuff you need to do. Understand what you're going to hunt and what you need to know about hunting, okay? And then get the appropriate gear for what you want to do, okay? And your mentor can help you with all that stuff, okay? Or there's plenty of people. If you can't find anybody, give me a shout. Send me an email. Two guys in the outdoors at gmail.com, okay? But figure out where to hunt. Get out there where you gonna hunt and scout it. Have some patience, and then understand what needs to be done after the hunt. Okay. All right. That's a high level stuff. If you want more details on any of that stuff, drop me a line, shoot me a comment. Okay. I'll give you a link to the DWR website where you can find mentors, hunters education classes, and that. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and subscribe. Please subscribe to our channel, and then rate it too. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, depending on if you liked it or not. Okay, and then especially if you give a thumbs down, give me a little comment that says why you gave it a thumbs down, to where we can do something different. Okay, we really want to know what you want to hear, what you want to see. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed it, and with that, get out in the woods and just go hunting. Thank you. Hopefully you liked that as much as I liked doing it. If you have any questions about the mentor program here in Virginia or the Hunters Education Program, please drop me an email at twoguysintheoutdoors@gmail.com, or leave a comment. And also, please subscribe and rate this show.